The Grizzly Lodge is one of those bucket list type of destinations, not only for us flatlanders that have come west, but also for the fellas who live and ride out here, because the experience of the Grizzly Lodge is unique, because this place, well, it sure ain't no Holiday Inn, and the experiences here start even before you get to the lodge.
Located about 45 kilometers from the nearest paved road, the lodge is only accessible by 4x4 truck in the summer months. So that means in the winter, you've got to ride in. Trucks and trailers are parked at the side of the logging road, where as a guest, you suit up into your riding gear and finish your trip into the lodge on your sled. For out-of-towners who fly into Kamloops like us, Grizzly Lodge will send one of the staff members out to do pickups at the airport, because there's no taxi that will get you anywhere near the lodge. Then, if you need a rental sled, Grizzly leaves a cache of buggies at the trailhead for that ride into the lodge. This ride-in aspect means you kind of have to think ahead, because everything you'll need for your stay needs to be packed in on the back of your snowmobile. But once you get to the lodge, you're right at the edge of the riding areas, and when you wake up in the morning, you look outside to all of this.
Grizzly Lodge started approximately 10 years ago. I officially bought the place in 2009 and started the business, and yeah, it's been an incredible ride of learning how to develop a business, and my passion for snowmobiling definitely has driven it forward, and the incredible terrain we have here with the lodge experience coupled with that on the mountain where you're riding from the doorstep and literally in 5 minutes you're in the Alpine. People love it, and we are located well off the grid. You actually physically have to ride a snowmobile in here or fly in a helicopter. It's fantastic because it puts you within 10 minutes of the alpine, subalpine terrain, and you're not trucking and trailering each day. You get on your sled as soon as you walk out the door, you fuel it up, and in 10 minutes you're in the alpine, which makes it incredibly unique and convenient. Usually when we're chatting with guests about coming here for the first time, people have a lot of questions, and when they hear it's a ride-in snowmobile lodge, immediately they're thinking, well, it's going to be rough. Accommodations are going to be slim, the food might not be great, we're going to have to haul a lot of stuff in, and we usually have to assure them that no, even though we're out this far, when you get here you will be blown away with the accommodations, the food, all the supplies we have here. It's pretty awesome.
Being operations manager running up here, you got to try to think ahead, because town's a long ways away. We can't get stuff just, like go to the store and get it. And so we've got to make sure we've got supplies up here that we need, and that we keep everything maintained and ready to go, and so that stuff doesn't wear out and break down as much. Aside from that, if something breaks, I got to fix it. If the trail's rough, I'm going to groom it, and just making sure the doors aren't falling off the hinges and everything's running good, and like a well-oiled machine up here.
We've got a wicked dry room, probably I would rate it the best ever developed. There's air pegs for your boots, gloves, helmets, all that. Wonderful hooks, dehumidifiers. Nobody walks out the door in the morning with wet gear. It's fantastic that way. Once you're done in there, you can go have a shower, hop in the hot tub. That's always good after a long day, and then grab some dinner at the bar and you're set. Guests, often I hear a lot of feedback about what they like specifically about the lodge, and we have a large common area with a pool table and TV and big tables for everybody to eat at, and a bar there, and it really creates an atmosphere that people seem to enjoy a lot. And we hear that more often than almost anything, is the atmosphere that people experience here because of how the lodge is constructed, and people can get together and hang out and have a good time. It's really popular. Snowmobilers really have a passion together, and that seems to really work well in a setting like this. People come, and you often see a different side of guests occasionally, because they're here to relax and cut loose a little bit, and we certainly have some fun evenings here with guests having a few drinks and telling some stories and ringing the shot bell, and it's very entertaining, and people enjoy it a lot.
The atmosphere here at the lodge is really, we kind of have, like, as a staff, a family atmosphere, and that kind of translates to the groups that we see up here. And it's a lot of just, you know, you came with all your sledding buddies. And we see a lot of families, we're starting to see a lot more families up here, which is awesome to see. Guys starting to bring their wives and their girlfriends up, which is also really cool. But it's still mainly just, you know, you're out here with all your buddies, your sledding buddies, and when they're all going, it's loud and it's crazy and it's fun. Everybody's just relaxing, they're on vacations, and you're on the trip of a lifetime.
The riding here isn't all about high marks and steep terrain. Instead, around Grizzly Lodge, it's more about finding your rhythm as a rider using the trees and subalpine hills to terrain ride. Now, this type of riding has become hugely popular over the last number of years, and it'll challenge your skills no matter what level they're at.
As a snowmobiler myself, since I was 8-9 years old, I can't think of a season yet that I didn't have a sled and have ridden, and today I still get giddy when I get on my sled and go for a ride. And that has really played into developing the business, because I feel like I know what other snowmobilers want when they come to a place like this. We start off by telling them it's amazing, it's awesome, it's all that, but the biggest pitch is that you are not traveling every day from the mountain to the mountain. Once you're at the lodge, you literally walk out the door, you're on your snowmobile, and you're riding immediately in the mountains. There's no trucks, no trailers, no gas stations, no having to find a restaurant. It's made so easy. In fact, when I go snowmobiling somewhere else now, I kind of get annoyed because I have to change my clothes on the side of the road or in my truck or go look for a restaurant. We really sell people on the experience that they have here at the lodge versus hotel, travel, truck, trailer, all that side of it.
With the lodge right at the edge of the riding zones, it's about a 10-minute trip up a groomed trail maintained by Grizzly's own groomer to get to the goal. Once up in the riding area, the choices are near limitless for the type of terrain you can find. Plus, in the different riding pockets, there's challenges for every skill level.
What it's like to work as a guide up here is just, it's awesome. We get a lot of people who are up here for their first time in the mountains. They've never experienced riding anything but, you know, a trail system, a groomed trail system. And to be the person that shows them what mountain riding is and to take them off trail for the first time and show them a good time, it's such a rewarding experience, and it never gets old just seeing people's faces light up when they see the views and they realize that I just rode to the top of a mountain. It's just awesome. The terrain around Grizzly Lodge really does offer a riding experience for every level of person that's coming out riding. I've taken people from the parking lot up to the top of the mountain that have never been on a snowmobile before in their life. And I've taken out groups of mixed riders where I've got really experienced guys riding with guys who maybe have been in the mountains a couple times, and I can get everybody to the same spots and have something for everybody to ride where we're still all in the same zone and we can still see each other. So it makes it really easy and really fun to guide up here because the terrain just works for us. At Grizzly Lodge, we start our operation in the beginning of December. Usually the first weekend of December is our kickoff, and we run our operation right through to the end of April. Right around April 20th is usually when our last groups come through, and we shut our doors, but we still have plenty of riding, and then we'll get out and have some fun riding our spring riding. Snow conditions up here, there's not really a bad time to come. December we usually get a lot more powder days. But there's not really a bad time. I mean, we always tell people the best time is when you're here because we can't predict the weather. We are pretty fortunate. We usually get a lot of snowfall to cover up and reload the mountains and whatever. But we can't predict the weather, and usually we don't go longer than a week without getting snow anyway.
Guests seem to enjoy riding what's come out that season, and it makes it easier for us on the maintenance side of things. We currently have 10 rental sleds and then a couple guide sleds. So we usually are able to accommodate people that don't have their own sleds, especially for people traveling, from more than driving distance away. Fly in, and we'll look after the rest.
What we do is if you're coming up here and you're renting a sled, you don't have to worry about how you're going to get up here to ride it. We'll have it waiting in the parking lot for you, ready to go. And also any gear that you need, whether it's riding gear or avalanche gear or just a shovel and a backpack, we can outfit you completely. So pretty much all you got to do is show up, and we've got you covered. The sleds that we have up here, they're all 800s, and we have a few 155s, a few 163s. We've got a 155 3-inch that is really fun. It's a wheelie machine. We've got a couple 163 3-inch, and they are absolutely awesome mountain machines. We run Polaris 800s, like I said, and they just work. Yeah, we're really proud of the sleds that we run. We really love running the Polarises. They're easy to ride, they're extremely light, and it's easy to teach somebody how to ride when they're on a new machine versus riding a machine that's 10 years old or even 4 or 5 years old. You put them on a new machine, it's responsive, it's light, and when they're riding the same thing that their guide is riding, it's really easy for me to show somebody how to do something and to jump from sled to sled and be able to do exactly what I want to do on it. Yeah, when guests are coming back and we've been on the mountain all day and they've been stuck and I've been digging them out, and catching up at the end of the day, you go sit down and sit around the fire or whatever, and just the stories just start coming of stuff you knew about, stuff you didn't know about, stuff that you maybe should have known about, and it's such a great time, and you really have a connection with the guys that you go out with.
Well, I guess we're really doing this, so we have to switch. Here you go. I get to shoot you. Yeah, okay, I'll take this, and I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I'll take it. This does not make any sense whatsoever.
Get like right here going this way.
Who's shooting this thing, me or you? He thinks I'm a professional at this. I'm really not. Are you ready now? I don't understand. And he's gone.
Yeah, we have a couple snowboard racks available for rent, and there's some really great backcountry snowboarding that you can access with your sleds. And really, you get the best of both worlds because you get to ride your sled and you get to get a few powder turns in that nobody else is fighting you for. So it's a really, really great opportunity to try that out. If something you've been wanting to try or wondering whether, if you're coming up to Grizzly Lodge, whether you should bring your board up, absolutely bring it up, give it a shot, and you'll have a lot of fun. If you're sled boarding or you're sled skiing, you get really familiar with the art of riding tandem. You get two guys, one on either side of the machine, and you've got to work with each other to be able to side hill and carve and ride all the same areas that you would normally solo. And it gets to be something that's really fun, and I've found you kind of stop just trying to make it straight up the hill and you start going, well, I wonder if both of us could make it up that pole there, and you can get into trouble, but it's a lot of fun riding tandem when you get two guys who figure out how to do it. When you're sled skiing or boarding, ideally you want to make sure that you've always got a machine at the top and one at the bottom, and that you don't ride both your sleds up to the top and ride down and have to hike up. So what you do is you go up with both machines, you leave your boards, take both machines back down, ride one back up, so now you got one at the top, one at the bottom. You make your runs and then you ride up and collect your sled and just repeat it. So you do a lot more sledding than you do boarding, but the boarding that you do is usually areas that nobody else is riding, and it's fantastic. Yeah, riding up here, you can challenge yourself as much or as little as you want. We've got open faces that would be ideal for boarding. You can get a nice long run, or you can go into the steep and deep. And we've got a few areas where there's some old cat tracks that you can easily get up with the sled, and you're riding some pretty nasty terrain, but it's a lot of fun.
I don't get it. I mean, there's no burning dinosaurs happening here whatsoever. You strap a board to your feet and you go down a mountain and you gotta walk over, and then what do? Nothing. You can't do anything until you get on a snowmobile and we take you back up there. What's the point? I don't get it. Just don't get it. All right, we're here in the basement of Grizzly Lodge in the shop, sitting next to a sled that we've been riding all day with Adam and Tim. And I gotta say, guys, it's been a great couple of days here. I think you guys really like what you do, right? Like, you every day at work is a bad day at work type of thing, or is it a pretty good day at work?
I'm gonna leave that one for Tim to start off.
Oh, you know what? It's hard to leave this place actually when your shift is done, because you know the people come and you know who's gonna be here. You're excited to see people, and I mean, when you get to go and work, your work is showing people the mountains in BC and the mountains that we've got to ride here.
Yeah.
It's pretty rewarding and pretty incredible seeing people come out here, especially the first time in the mountains, and you're the guy showing it to them all.
And you guys, your relationship goes way back, right? Like, there's a connection there that I understand. Like,
Yeah.
You
Let me tell
might
ya.
say.
Yeah, we've known each other since we were about 14 or so,
Yeah.
and by chance, 3 years ago, I happened to marry Tim's sister, so that's been interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't really get away from each other then. Like, you're together at work, and then family dinners and Christmases and everything
Yeah,
like that.
those
You're
can
always
get
throwing
awkward.
buns at each other, and,
Buns.
or hammers,
Yeah.
whatever's handy.
Yeah, but it's been a good relationship here at the lodge. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you can work with somebody you can trust and
Yeah.
have that relationship behind the scenes where, things can get a little out of hand occasionally, but so far
Not
we've
so
ripped
much
each other's
these
heads off.
days.
But the riding here too is pretty darn good when you get right down to it. I mean, it's terrain riding. It's not, huge, big, mountain climbs or high marks, that type of thing. But it's challenging, right? And do you find the people that come here always find something new?
I think aside from the lodge experience, we get a lot of feedback from guests that they love the terrain because no matter what level they are, beginner, intermediate, expert, they can find terrain that meets what they're looking for. And we find that the majority of our terrain is pretty safe. We're not always worried about avalanches in every area. There's a lot of nice safe areas that you're not having to worry about that, and that puts a lot of people at ease. Because that's obviously a concern when you're in the mountains, but fortunately we have a lot of wicked terrain here that doesn't require that level of concern.
Yeah.
And like we were saying today when we were out there, like the terrain is such that you don't have to be a fantastic snowmobiler to get into some really
Tim
cool
rides
spots.
it, so.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can make it in there, and I mean, you've seen how many times I was stuck today.
I think you went into a tree once or maybe twice or something like that. We may even have that on GoPro. I'm not
It
sure.
might
but-
be. We might have to delete that file.
Yeah. But I mean, it's got to be satisfying to be able to have a guest of a newbie to come up here, because it's a challenging and it's intimidating to come up in the mountains. I mean, it's nice to know that somebody of that skill level can come up here and have the experience that we all love, right?
Yeah, and it's really cool watching somebody go from the start of the day when they're going, oh man, we have to go up that. Like, are you sure? Is there another way? To the end of the day, going, hey, can I go up that? Like, can I try that? And you're like, yeah, go for it. Like, give her.
Now, speaking of other kinds of riding, you guys were out snowboarding today, which is something that I have no idea about. Like, I'm not a snowboarder. Was a skier in a past life, but that ended quickly when I discovered gasoline and snowmobiles, which are
I like
much
gasoline.
better. Yeah. So, do you guys do a lot of snowboarding out here?
We do a little bit here and there. It's one of those things where it's fun to do something different sometimes. Honestly, I kind of hung up the board when I started snowmobiling.
Well, that's a natural thing to
Well,
do.
yeah, I mean, why? When you've got one of these sitting here, why are you gonna strap in one of these? But it's fun just to do something different once in a while, and we can access some really cool terrain that like you can't experience just going to a ski hill or hiking or whatever. And
Yeah.
the ease of taking a sled and going up and doing your runs
And then you get the best of both worlds because you get to do a little bit of downhill on the snowboard or your skis, and at the same time you're still doing lots of riding in the
Yeah.
day.
And when you can shred like Tim,
Oh yeah.
why not,
Yeah.
right?
I saw him banging into a bunch of trees, I think.
There seems to be a
No, I think
common
you're watching
tree theme here, right? Trees with sleds, trees with boards.
Trees with the trucks. And moving on.
All right. So, I mean, if you guys are coming out from the east, Grizzly Lodge is the place to go. Get a guide. Tim will take you. You can watch him drive into a tree. It'll all be good.
No promises.
No promises. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Bro.
Awesome.